Hey everybody, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. I got a toy video today, a vintage toy, and a couple of things I'm going to show you I've had since I was a little kid. One of them came later, and actually, well, we'll get to it in a second. So, 1958, the Hungerford Plastic Company was putting out some vinyl dolls, and these were like rack toys. Plastic bag, little header card, nothing fancy at all. And they did some Disney. I think they did Bullwinkle and Rocky, and they did Charles Schultz Peanuts. Now, I don't have to tell you that Peanuts is easily one of the biggest things in American pop culture ever, and it probably will remain that way for some time, even though it's essentially not being published anymore. And it was a huge, huge thing in my childhood. And I had some of these Hungerford Peanut dolls, except I didn't know what they were. Let's start out with this guy here. This, of course, is Linus. Now, Linus would have come with a blanket. I actually, as a kid, used a Kleenex. It's vinyl, so he's squishy. Now, this is part of the second wave that they put out in 1961. The first wave, Linus, did not have stripes on the shirt or the wispy hair. It was solid. And you can kind of tell, if you're a fan of the strip, that this is the younger version of Linus. And we got some paint missing on the bottom of the character. Linus was up on my shelf when I was a kid, and I played with him. I remember playing with these things in the bathtub when I was little, and last week, but they were just toys, and I didn't know where they came from. And to find out that these things originated more than a decade before I was born was actually kind of interesting. Now, I think in later years, my mother had said something that they were handed down on her side of the family. I don't know if it was from an older cousin, an older aunt or uncle. I honestly don't know. So I had this guy. Now, at that time, I didn't, again, know what these things were. I didn't know there was a name to them. They were just these toys I had. And then on an auction site, this fine-looking gentleman showed up. Now, I believe this is also from Wave 2, so around 1961. Good old Charlie Brown. And as soon as I saw this thing, I'm like, that has got to go with the Peanuts characters that I had since I was little. And I was very fortunate. Got a hole in his head. Oh, look at that. Yeah, scandalous. I was very fortunate that the person who put up the auction included the name Hungerford, because then I had a name and I was able to look these up. And I was kind of amazed at the value on these things. Now, they can vary a bit wildly, but looking at eBay, what I'm mostly seeing are prices, say, from about $50 to $120. And again, it depends on the figure, on how rare it might be, on the condition, on all that kind of stuff. Now, I was able to pick this guy up on auction for less than he would generally go for. I just happened to be lucky that some people who were in the know weren't on that auction site, or weren't on that auction site that day or week, or weren't paying attention. And so I was able to pick him up. I was very happy that I was able to add one to this little collection. Now, in Wave 1, you got Charlie Brown, you got Lucy, you got Linus, you got Snoopy. And Wave 2 re-released those characters, apparently, I think, a little bit larger, a little taller, and added Baby Sally. She was a brand new character at the time. Pigpen, and Schroeder with his piano. And those apparently are the more rare figures and a little harder to come by. So you're ready to see a vintage toy that can run from $500 to $1,000, apparently, that I played with when I was a little kid. That is Schroeder. And you notice he's in his stance. And apparently what makes this one fairly rare is that he usually does not come with the piano. So for once in my life, I actually just have a rare toy from childhood. Now, there is apparently another Beethoven piano out there to be found. I got most of this information off of collectingpeanuts.com. And I will put a link to the article in the comments. And the person writing that has seen this other Beethoven piano, does not know if it actually was original or if it came from maybe a different Hungerford line, which seems kind of unlikely to me, but apparently it's more rare. This is the more common one that's found. But I'm ecstatic that I actually have this thing to go with Schroeder. I have something rare. And if you are interested in these, don't contact me because this is childhood stuff. I wouldn't get rid of it for $1 million. These remind me childhood of my mother, of etc. I wouldn't give them up for anything. But it was really kind of a fun coincidence that I was finally able to have a little more information about these just childhood toys that, other than Charlie Brown, had sat on my shelf as a kid for my whole life. There's that class of toys that predates your awareness, that you always own, that it never occurs to you came from someplace. They just always were. They just exist. So, the Hungerford Peanuts. Again, these, I believe, are all from Wave 2 from 1961. The first wave is 1958. They're vinyl. They're squishy. They did use these molds to make some different characters in ceramic. They were used for a Ford promotion. There were wall plaques. And these were reproduced not too long ago by a Japanese company. But they were hard plastic, so, you probably shouldn't get fooled. These should be squishy, and you can hear, makes a little squeaky sound. Very cool little items, and I'd like to maybe try to get the Snoopy at a minimum, but in all honesty, if the Charlie Brown had gone on the auction site for what it could have gone for, I almost certainly would not have bought it. I don't have a burning desire to own all of these, but if I can get them at a great price, little by little, I'd be happy to get a few because I really do love them. Charles Schultz's designs changed over time. This is an era of design that I really, really liked of his. And, so I have a real affection for them. And I was a Peanuts fanatic when I was a kid. Daily comic strip, get the little books, but you could just read those things for hours, and they were just fantastic. Now, I'm going to show one other item that is not a Hungerford Peanut item in this video. Let me get the boys out of the way here. It's easily the stupidest auction item I have ever bought. It is effectively valueless, but it was almost like a piece of, folk art. It was Generation X kid folk art. And you know what? If you know, you know, and you'll go, oh yeah, I could see why he did this. And believe me, I did not pay for much for this. Now, this is a Peanuts lunchbox. You can see, go to school, Snoopy. That some kid, probably named Rich, Pa? Maybe there's more, should be more of a last name there. Some kid named Rich decorated with stickers from the old Star Wars cards. And boy, these things, I mean, we loved them. The stickers, and of course, being kids, we were all stupid enough to actually use them rather than put them in protective sleeves forever. And on the bottom, you also get special guest appearance from Mork and Mindy. So this thing came up, and there's just that part of me going, it's like my pop culture Indiana Jones. This belongs in a museum. Look at this thing. I mean, it is such a frozen moment in time. And I can't let Rich's stupid lunchbox that he decorated with stickers just be like thrown in the trash. I mean, what else is going to be done with this thing? So I put in the lowest possible bid and got this thing. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it, frankly. But I finally found a reason to actually use it in a video. So well worth it. And Rich, if you're out there and somehow you see this video, here's your lunchbox, baby, and it's in good hands. It will be cared for. You know, unless my wife ever gets a hold of it, she'll probably throw it away. So there we go. Hungerford Peanuts, Linus, Charlie Brown, and the piece de résistance, Schroeder with his Beethoven piano. Again, you check them out on eBay and you'll see the prices can vary, but you're probably, for most of the figures, in the $50 to $120 range. Sally and Pigpen, I think, will typically run a little bit more than that. And there's a person right now with the Schroeder and piano who's trying to sell it for $900. I don't know if they could realistically get that, but maybe. It sounds like it does tip to go into $500 to $1,000 range. Absolutely crazy. And I'm like, I feel absolutely, blessed to have these things. And again, mostly, they're just an anchor to childhood and childhood memories. Mom and dad, grandparents, playing with friends on a summer day. These guys were always there. They were fixtures in my room, and I wouldn't get rid of them for the world. So what do you think of the Hungerford Peanuts? Do you have any of these? Have you collected any of these? Any that are your favorites, etc.? Let me know in the comments. Again, I will put in the description a link to, I think it's collectingpeanuts.com, and the article where I got most of this information about it. Great article, a lot of great pictures, probably a cool site. Generally speaking, I would go check it out, especially if you're a Peanuts fan. If you enjoyed the video, please like, maybe subscribe. Think of sharing with a friend. I'd really appreciate that. Helps me out. Until next time, God bless everybody. Be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun. And, maybe think about good old Charlie Brown and all the troubles he goes through, and know that you're not alone out there. I'll see you next time on Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Oh, Charlie.